exactly what people think, and that is our job.
Yeah.
Remember, it's illegal to possess these stolen documents. It's different for the media.
I was wondering who did that. Thanks.
Ain't nothing to it. A baby could do it.
You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
I'm a human being, god damn it! My life has value! It's time to ask yourself what you believe.
Mass murder, torture, perjury, embezzlement, fraud, deception, treason. These are just a few of your many crimes against humanity. You will not win this war, for you are fighting the very essence of humanity.
We make this judgment affirmatively. It will be an entire nation.
Hello guys, what's going on? I'm here with Shakirah Moore from Finding Your Beauty. She's a holistic practitioner and she specializes in herbology, iridology, and spiritual healing. Hey Shakirah, what's going on?
Peace and wellness. How are you?
I'm well.
Yes.
One thing, you're so young and you're so woke. I mean,
young and woke.
Yeah, I know. I keep saying I'm gonna stop using that word, but I use it as a comical way. But you're very aware, enlightened, and so ahead of stuff when I was about your age. You know, just I wish and I knew a lot of the stuff, and I had a lot of the interests that you have. But it's great. It's great to see. And I bought some herbs from Shakirah, and she does iridology, so that's something also I was actually interested in learning, and I guess it's not too late, but I always thought that was really interesting science. So I'm going to ask you a little bit more about that, but before that, I want to just take you back and just tell me your story, the origins of your business, and why you named it the name that you named it.
Yes. Well, first, I would like to start off by talking about what drew me to iridology and all that I'm doing now. It's like the more I dig deeper into even the library that I have in my home, and this is the library I had since I was a child. You know, we've always had a huge book collection from my grandmother to my mother. And I'm looking at books, and my grandmother, I learned that she loved iridology. She loved herbalism. She loved chakra healing. And she went to an iridologist. She never had the chance to study this, but it just made it more clear for me that they was laying down the path for me to walk. So it just made me smile inside to know that. So as I got drawn to it, and it was just more, it just kept pulling me in. Actually the story that pulled me in more was when my mother told me when she went to an iridologist when I was young, and she had this ailment that was bothering her for weeks at a time, a pain that would not go away. And the medical doctor told her, they gave us some pain medication. They didn't know what it was. They ran every test. I think she stayed overnight, and they ran every test, and they couldn't figure it out. And they said, if you come back, then we know the pain medication didn't work. If you don't, then, you know, it subsided, but it didn't, you know? So my grandmother said, I told you to go to that iridologist. I told you to go. So with nothing to lose, my mother went, and 2 minutes into sitting in his chair, he told her exactly what it was. It was gallstones. And she's like, wow, she didn't know, you know? And he gave her a remedy, an herbal remedy to follow, and a detox plan. And 2 days later, she passed the stones, and there was no more pain. That story just, I mean, I will forever tell this story, because that solidified it for me right there. I said, this is what I want to do. I was like, to look into the eyes and tell that is so powerful. So I went to school for about a year, and I got my certification in iridology. And I didn't quite start at first yet. My confidence level wasn't there. And all of a sudden, it just boomed. And I came up with the name Finding Your Beauty. And a lot of people will say, oh, it's a lot of men, they turn away from it. They think it's a beauty thing. I'm selling products, and it's nothing like that. It's finding your inner self, finding that inner rose that wasn't watered as it should have been when you were a child. We grow up and we don't have that same smile that we had as when we were little, you know, and it's the pain, it's all of the experiences that we faced while growing up. So I'm here to help you reconnect to that, finding your true beauty. And that's why that name clicked for me, finding your beauty, to find the inner you again and bring that back out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Was your grandmother, was she self-taught? She just kind of dabbled and knew stuff here and there, but she wasn't like certified? Is that what it?
Right. Yeah. So she read a lot of books. She purchased a lot of books, and she also sold herbs as well. One of the herbs that I have now in my collection, Gurmar, which is an ancient Indian herb, she sold, and she actually helped her neighbor gain their eyesight. What happened was, when you are diabetic, if you go into a diabetic coma, you'll temporarily suffer from temporary blindness, and due to the high sugar levels. So she gave her neighbor this herb and said, here, take this herb. And it was Gurmar. And 3 or 4 days later, the person began to gain their eyesight back again. And I was just like, I have to get this herb in honor of her. So now I have this herb. It's so amazing, because people who have sugar cravings, you put that on your tongue, you drink it, 10 seconds later, you won't even taste the sugar. So it really trains your taste buds. It gets rid of the sugar out of the system. It's really, really good for diabetics. I mean, all of this, there's no secret to healing. It's all around us, you know, and the suffering that we go through is so unnecessary, but it's due to lack of knowledge. So once we begin to re-educate the people and actually gain their attention and they have to want to learn, they have to want this. And that's when all of it stops, you know? So that is the key right there, the key to healing. There's no secret. It's all around you. The answer is all around.
Do you get haters? Do you get trolls that are like witch doctor stuff? And
you know what? Not yet, not as much.
Okay.
In the beginning, I had friends actually joking around, saying stuff like that, like, oh, that voodoo, and, you know, all of that. The only time I had like real clapback was when we did the Harlem Vaccine Forum back in October, and they did a report like of the upcoming forum, and they did like a mini report on me saying Dr. Shakirah Moore of Holistic Iridology, which is a pseudoscience, and that was it. You know, that was the only time I was like, wow, I was actually mentioned in a paper. But it was still me you're mentioning. You know, they say bad publicity, any publicity is good publicity. So I was like, okay, you know.
But I had an insight about that a couple months ago. I'm like, but these witch doctors, they live well into their hundreds. So that's like a compliment. You know what I mean? When they're talking about all that voodoo stuff, all that people. But it's like, you know, and I just read this some article where the president of, I think it was Tanzania, actually he sent some samples to be tested for coronavirus, but he didn't tell them what it was. And they came back positive, but he tested like a goat, a sheep, and a pawpaw, which is a fruit. And they all tested positive for coronavirus. I'll send you that article, right? But the article kind of like did a little dig about like, oh, you know, he dismissed the science, and he just thinks that, you know, he told people to pray them away and pray the coronavirus away. And I'm just like, you know, I notice when a lot of African people, Black people, people of color question things, or they have their own methodology, they like to pull up that witch doctor stuff, or that we're just, you know, but I'm just like, but these people that are doing it, they're always healthy, and they live like well into their hundreds. So, What are you trying to say? What
Well,
people think
they have to make it like a witch doctor and make it in a bad light and blackball it or black whatever, so that you will stray away from it, so that you will shy away. That's why the average person, when you say herbs or when you say natural healing, they like, no, I don't want any of that, because it's already been ingrained in mind through repetition, through programming, that this type of science is witch. And they even had cartoons back in the 30s and the 40s showing the big mama in the pot brewing whatever she was brewing, and like it was like a ritual. So all of this, the pictures and the words, has been ingrained in us, and now we have today in 2020 a generation that doesn't want anything to do with it. So it takes time, it takes practice to get that type of thinking into someone's brain. So
and a lot of times it really is personal experience. Like somebody has to be, a lot of people that are turning to natural medicine, they're usually so desperate that they've either been horribly damaged by allopathic medicine, or they don't have anywhere else to go, and this is like their last hurrah. So I think with that said, I think that like it's funny because if you actually look at the stats, it's the allopathic medicine that's killing more people. They're the third leading cause of death. And then even with this coronavirus patients, you have nurses and doctors coming out and saying that the methods that they're using to treat these so-called infected people are actually killing them, So, there's no evidence to support that herbology and herbs are killing people. It's the opposite. So all they have is perception. They don't have facts. The science isn't on their side. And this is actually a science. This is, it's called biochemistry. That's what I tell people. They're like, there's no science. I was like, yeah, it's called biochemistry. And it's called, I don't know, the connectiveness of everything, because iridology, but the eye, not muscles, but I'm sure, and the what you can read in the eye is connected to other parts of the body. And, ancient African, Chinese, Indian medicine, they all knew about this. And because it's been passed down for thousands of years, but here comes, allopathy, which is it's a little over 200 years old, and they think they know everything. It's so arrogant and it's so ridiculous, Sorry.
And what I say is the allopathic medicine is good when it's as long as it lies in a trauma unit, like trauma and recovery, as far as you get into a car accident, you get hurt, you break a bone, things like that, then yes. But everyday maintenance, like a common cold or just taking care of yourself, your eyes, whatever the case, these things we can do at home, and these things you can seek out someone such as myself to do it naturally, okay? Because most times you'll find that the medicine that they lay down for you to take is actually more detrimental in the end than it is has anything to do with curing the actual disease, okay? And then first you have to understand the foundation of disease, and understanding that is understanding how the body works. And then all of this fear of the coronavirus will go away, because a virus can only replicate itself in a diseased cell. So that person would already have to be sick, and something would already have to be wrong in their system for that virus or that microbe to live in the body and make more of itself, So it's just, and that's what I'm going to also be talking about in my upcoming presentation called The Attack on the Blood, okay? And it's very important that the family tunes in and really understand what's really going on a cellular level. This is a cell attack. They're attacking your cells. So that's what we need to focus on. It has nothing to do with all of these treatments that they're using right now. It has nothing to do with reviving the person in itself, because if it did, it would be more internal cleansing, dealing with the cells rather than dealing with the physical or whatever allopathic medicine or treatment that they're using, which is the ventilators, and they haven't even come up with any other drugs. This has nothing to do with getting oxygen to the cells. Okay, this is just one part of the body getting into the lungs. So if that is distorting, or that part is distorting the person's lungs, it's frustrating it, it's inflamed. It's already inflamed. It's not getting enough oxygen to the whole body. So we have to look at that. And that's what I'll be talking about in my upcoming presentation, the attack on the blood.
Yeah, no, and you know, it's cool that you brought that up. Just going a little bit back to what you were saying about the coronavirus and how when all this came out, because you knew that, you weren't like scared, right? And the fact that everybody is so ignorant about this stuff, so ignorant about viruses. And in addition to that, they've also seen all these stupid like virus movies, you know, like Outbreak and The Stand and stuff. So they think this shit's real. Like they think it's real because they say, like, oh, that's why people think a mask is going to protect them. And I was looking at this hospital that I was working at, and I was looking at, I guess, whatever, there's a lot of roly-polies that are crawling into the hospital. I'm like, they can't even stop these roly-polies from getting to the hospital. Yeah, they think they can stop something 100 times smaller, you know, like a virus from getting in. Like, it's the most ridiculous thing to me. But I lost my train of thought. We're talking about, the coronavirus. Because I was saying, you know, even when this first started, a lot of my friends and I are hip to like the whole virus myth and a lot of, and how the body works. So when this happened, we weren't even like phased, like not even a little bit, you know, and I'm sure you weren't either. And I was telling my friend, it was just such a blessing that I had this foreknowledge. Had I not, that I probably would be panicking like everybody else.
Exactly.
So do you want to, what are your thoughts on this and what's going on with the coronavirus?
Well, in the beginning, you know, a lot of us, you know, a lot of people didn't take it seriously. You know, it was first they came out and said, okay, there was a virus, and then they shut things down. And there was a Chinese doctor that said that people of African descent was immune because of their melanin. So then you had these funny memes and everything where Black people dancing and saying, yeah, we're immune or whatever. Then all of a sudden you had indigenous people dropping like flies. So what changed from then to now? Okay, and it's all about the blood. Okay, the answer is in the blood. I won't give too much away because that's just the presentation. That's all going to be in the YouTube or the video that I'll be releasing within the next few days. But it's interesting to note in the interview with Dr. Anthony Fauci, he pointed out, and I don't know, I'm not saying his exact words verbatim, but he said, it's a time like this in our society where it shines the light on the foibles and weaknesses in our community. And then he started to go on and talk about the underlying conditions in the indigenous community. So I'm a person with words. I love words. You know, I always like to look up the root word of these words. And he said foibles. And when I looked up the root word, it was, it means feeble. And that's a term that they love to use in eugenics when it comes to in a eugenics society.
How do you spell it? How do you spell it?
Foible, F-O-I-L-A-B-L-E-S.
Okay, I'll look it up.
And it just means weaker, the weaker part of something. And so it's funny and interesting to note that after he mentioned that, he began to talk about the indigenous community. And again, that word is linked to the word feeble, which they used in the eugenics program, where they plan to map out and destroy and wipe out a whole society or a whole community, mainly the indigenous community. And now they want to begin to talk about how we can get rid of these underlying conditions, when these underlying conditions been here for years, for 50, 60 years. The high blood pressure, you know, the cholesterol, the heart issues, the lung issues, all of this been here for years because our diet has, we've been led astray from our original plan. And this is why I've made it my duty to get certain blends. I've made certain blends for these illnesses so that, you know, we can get our people off of these deadly medications and get our bodies working again as it should, so that we won't have to suffer from these underlying conditions, which in turn, which is really ultimately wiping us out from whatever is going on. Okay,
we also have to change how we eat.
Well, yes, absolutely.
That's great, but like it's so terrible. It's so toxic. You know,
yeah. Why is that? You know, but we have to look at why is that? You know, we've all stress is the number one lead to eating a poor diet. If you're always running, you're always working, you know, you're always doing something, and then you don't have time to cook a whole meal. And then you only eat whatever is readily available in your community. In certain towns, they don't know what a dragon fruit is, or papaya, or a grapeseed oil. Whatever's in that area is what they're going to get. The average person don't go a certain mile radius or whatever out of their community to get their food. They don't go that far. They're going to stay in their comfort zone, and what's in their comfort zone is what's killing them.
But it's also like the fast food in the neighborhood, and also like the liquor stores are open, but you eat, like nothing in the liquor store is healthy. You can get, maybe they might have a banana and an apple, but it's like everything else, all the packaged food, all of the you know, toxic stuff, all the GMO chips and all the snacks and all the, you know, stuff that has heck cells sprinkled on it, and you know, you know, like it's all hell. Once I started getting into this stuff, I remember walking to the liquor store, and I was like, I can't eat anything here that would be healthy. It's not just the liquor itself, but like all the little foods and stuff that contribute to all this disease, you know?
Exactly. It does nothing for the body nutritionally. It doesn't feed the body, doesn't feed the cells, and the main point of eating is to eat to survive. It's supposed to be fully absorbed by the cells, so the cells can then turn it into energy for you. But it doesn't do that. It destroys the cell, and once the cell is destroyed, that's when dis-ease erupts. And dis-ease is just disharmony. It's not a bad thing. It's not, you know, we put the stigma on certain words that, you know, been vibrating all our lives, like cancer and dis-ease and all of these different words. They're just words to describe a symptom of what's going on. And once the people realize that these illnesses arise so that you can still be here, it's trying to give you a chance to survive. The body never wants to die, and it never wants to self-destruct. So when things go wrong in the body, it's giving you signals to say, hey, you know, something's going on, you know, you got to fix me. You know, it's like a car. Your car starts acting up. Your car, you hear this, you know, the brakes, you know, or the rotors. I know my car was messed up. You hear the, that's the same way as the body. You start to get pain. You know, especially the cancer is the last resort when the body is just on an overload. It's the last resort. Like, take care of me now. And that's, once we have to understand that aspect of healing, it's not sickness, it's healing, then we'll know how to get back and how to bring our bodies back to where it needs to be.
Yeah, this really should be taught in school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, huh?
Absolutely. You know, I totally agree. I hated science in school. I hated science, chemistry, biology. Even in biology was actually my worst, and it was mainly because of the teacher. But I actually did a report on vaccines in 9th grade, and I got an F. And from then on, I just was like, you know, this type of science that they're teaching, it was just boring because I knew.
What did you do? Did you said that they were BS basically?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I did a report. I was in 9th grade. I was 14 years old. And they said, just pick whatever you want to do.
You knew in 9th grade? Oh my God, girl, you're ahead of your time.
I was like, and people thought I was crazy. A lot of different things I used to say back then. But anyway,
was it as vicious then as it is now? Because I when I was younger, I remember I knew, like I had heard like in old wives' tales that there were maybe some people that didn't vaccinate their kids, but it wasn't like a big deal. I'm like, okay, well they can do that if they want to, but now it's like people are crazy. So when you did that, were you like how was it? How did people?
I mean, I was alone. No one.
I mean, but did people like bully you, harass you, or they just thought it was stupid? They're just like,
they just thought it was stupid. Nobody bullied me or anything like
Nobody
that.
was like, you should burn in hell. Like, you're a terrible person. Like, now people will lose their
children are not like that. That's more so adults. It was mainly the teacher that was doing that. The children, we didn't know. We were 14. We're all learning. So they just thought it was something new, you know. But when I came and I cited I had sources. You know, I had my sources. One of the main sources I had was Curtis Koss's book, Vaccines Are Dangerous. His first copy, the red book, not the black one, the red book. And that was one of my sources. And when she gave me an F, my mother, she raised hell, went to the school and gave her all of these reports and thousands of pages and she changed that F to a B plus. And
what? She gave you a B plus? No, she just could not give you an A.
She couldn't give me that A. Couldn't give me that A. No, she could not.
I know your mom too. I can picture your mom going up there and just be like, stack this pig and just be like, here, read.
Here you go. Exactly. And she doesn't play about that because it's real research out there on this stuff. So yeah. So if they did teach this in school, I mean, our children would be way more liberated than they are now. But they can't. People have they can't. Because then you're teaching them to think for themselves. We don't want that. That's too you want little robots to work in stores and work for other people so that they'll follow the pattern and follow the paradigm of how we have things set up. They can't have free thinkers.
So didn't Rockefeller say that he wanted a nation of workers, not thinkers? Was that him that said that? You know that quote?
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I think it was Rockefeller. So he's been quoted as saying he wants a nation of workers and not thinkers. I would not put my kid in school. If I had kids, I'm either homeschooling them, or if I can find a community school or something where I can monitor what they're getting taught and have a hand in what they're being taught, then I will do that. But I mean, school is just like the worst. And there's so many, that's just one little aspect of it. It's so, on so many levels, it's like the worst place you can send your child right now, I would say, you know. But I think not only do they want to keep them robots, but they also want to keep people sick, because if people are sick, they're not in a clear thinking mode. They can't be conscious. They can be, what do you call it? Not exploited. I can't think of the word. You can blackmail people, for instance, and I'm just going to give somebody like an example. Your son or daughter has cancer, right? And then you don't know anything about natural cancer cures. All you know is you need $10 million to pay for their chemotherapy. And maybe, somebody evil needs you to do something for them. And they'll say, well, I'll give you that $10 million if you do this, kill this person, or be corrupt in this. So you can, you know what I mean? Like you can make people become corrupt in order to do bad things because they're scared of death and because they're scared of dying. But if they understood the natural cancer cure, or they, you know what I mean? Then they would be like, yeah, you can take that $10 million and shove it. I'm going to go get some, do some Gerson therapy or oxygen, or take this herb, or antineoplastic therapy, whatever, depending on the cancer that you have. If people knew about that, and most of them, actually, if people knew about it, they probably wouldn't even get cancer. They wouldn't even let it get to that point. Because like you said, it's like a last resort of your body trying to.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. See, it's, it's about being prepared and constantly defending yourself. That's why I changed the word immune system for defense system. You're never really immune to anything, you know. That whole immunity knowledge or whatever that they created is a farce, because your body is constantly changing to its environment. So if you live in Pennsylvania and you go to another country, you're not going to be immune over there. Your body is going to try to adapt and change and build up different microbes, different cells to fight whatever is going on in that environment. And to understand, you have a built-in army in your body waiting to defend you, waiting to fight for you at the sign of any attack, whether it be a virus, bacteria, protozoa, whatever. But you have to work with the army. You have to work with it so that it can be strong enough to defend you. And how do you work with the army? How do you arm it with weapons? That's your fruits, that's your vegetables, that's your whole foods. Okay, that's how you arm your army inside of you, so that you don't have to develop cancer or high blood pressure or any of these ailments that our elders are suffering from. Okay, you'll already be prepared for the fight. There won't be any unnecessary suffering, unnecessary loss of any cells. You'll be a whole person. You'll have whole thinking. Everything will be one, and the mental, the spiritual, and the physical is just one. And that's what holistic healing is all about, healing the entire individual. You know, that's what iridology is, because with iridology, I can see the entire body just by looking in the eye. I can tell you the state of your lungs, your heart, your kidneys, your reproductive system, your thyroid, every organ in the body I can tell the state of by just looking in your eyes. And in the allopathic medicine, and again, we're not putting it down, we're just simply drawing
it has its place.
Contrast. Right, it has its place and it has its time for it. But to compare holistic and allopathic, they split everything. They have everything fragmented. Okay,
yeah.
you have a cardiologist here, then you have a pulmonologist here, and then you have a foot doctor, and all of these different doctors and endocrinologists here, when the body works as one. So you have a foot doctor, you have a pain in your heel, and that foot doctor is going to try to heal your foot physically. He's going to say, oh, you know, let's soak your feet, they give some type of cream ointment. But that foot doctor is not going to tell you, or he may not know, that there's certain nerves in the foot that's directly connected to the woman's ovaries and the male gonads.
Yes, yes.
But he's not going to say that.
You don't know.
He doesn't even know that. And there's certain nerves in the foot that's directly connected to that area. So anytime you have a pain in your foot, it could be something else. It is not the foot, you know, and even
it's not getting to the root of the problem.
Right. You have to get to the root, because if you're trying to do it all fragmentally, you'll never get there. That person will never see.
Either it'll heal for the moment, but then it will manifest somewhere else if you don't get to the root, or in another form if you don't get to the root of the problem.
Right. Well, the symptoms just subsided. That's all it is. It's all symptomatic, where we feel that we're healed and, oh, I don't have any more pain and it went away. Yeah, the symptoms went away, but the actual disease didn't. It just went and hid somewhere until it manifests later on, you know. And it's interesting, you know, and I'm quoting Dr. Phil Valentine. He was also at the Harlem Vaccine Forum, and he said a child's first cold is their first exposure to cancer later on. Because that mucus, see, the root of all disease is mucus. So as soon as a child has its first cold, that first mucus coming out is his first exposure to cancer later on. That doesn't mean that a person will get cancer. It's how you live your life from the time you were born to that time that you manifested what they call cancer. So
So do mucus and inflammation kind of go hand in hand, or they're the same?
It does. Inflammation just means an irritant in the body. Mucus, when it shows up in any part of the body, it's an irritant. It's it got deep in the tissues, and it from all how the person lives their life, whether it be the food, their thinking, whatever it is, their environment, it hides in the cell. And then once the mucus starts to come out, that's the part of cleansing. And we look at that as being sick.
Yeah.
You know, the sneezing and the coughing, that's a good thing, because the body is trying to expel what doesn't belong there. Okay. And we have to think, if we eat like this every single day and we only have maybe a cold a year, because you have people bragging, I never get sick. Oh, I never get sick. And they'll brag about that. And it's like, if you eat this type of food all the time and never get sick, and you maybe get one cold, one phlegm here and there, where's the rest of that mucus going? Where is it hiding? Yes. So it's not to brag about that you never get sick. Now we have to go into deeper thinking. Well, you feel well for the moment, but what's going on internally may manifest into something more chronic than acute, where the acute phase is the mucus. That's the beginning.
But if you're a healthy person, then you won't get sick though, right?
What do you mean?
If you're eating healthy, then you won't get sick, right? You're talking about
chances are of your eating healthy, you won't experience disease. But not saying that you're immune. Again, you're not immune.
Okay.
You're in defense mode. So as you eating healthy, you're eating your foods, you're getting your sunlight, you're taking your herbs, you're defending your body, you're defending your army, but you're never immune. You're constantly putting the food in the body to arm your army. So the chances of a person who eats healthy, who has a healthy mindset and outlook on life, their chances of getting sick, because remember, it's not getting sick, it's the healing phase, will be very low to a person who doesn't follow that lifestyle.
So, you know, before this coronavirus thing happened, my friends and I, because we're, you know, I've talked about a little bit on this channel, and probably have more people talk about, you know, like the terrain theory versus the germ theory kind of deal. And we were talking about how we were really, you know, me and my best friend were talking about how we were really like excited and we want to promote more of this ideology, because once people understand this, then you can't make them afraid of disease. And viruses and stuff. And we even kind of, me and a few other friends, because we read a lot of stuff, and I guess we have our own kind of, we don't call it a study group, but we're just nerds about it, and we'll just talk to each other. We'll relay ideas back and forth. And we were kind of thinking that we don't even think it's really possible for a bioweapon to even be created, because everybody's immune system is very different. You can't really kill like the world on a large scale, even with what they call the genetically engineered bioweapon, if people have a really good defense system, right? Or you know, or immune system, right? You can't possibly, like that's just like an impossibility. So when you see these movies about, oh, there's a virus that escaped and it's killing everybody in the way, like it's just not possible, especially since there are viruses and bacteria everywhere. Even if, you know, you merge the exosomes or viruses or whatever you think they are together to make something a super weapon, you know, you can't really do that. You can do that. I know the vaccines are causing super bugs because it's making certain bacteria evolve, because it's messing up our people's defense system in that way. But you couldn't throw something in the air and just let it out and it just kills everything. That's just this, I don't know, it's biologically like impossible. So well,
they can predict, they can draw certain predictions and conclusions based upon the environment, what they put in the chemtrails, like barium and things like that.
It has to be chemical. It has to be chemicals and stuff, not biological. That's my point.
Plus, they know what the people eat there. They have it narrowed down to where you can almost predict the time, the date, the year of when a person or when a people will expire. based upon their environment and what they're exposed to. So if I'm in Brooklyn and the only thing around is a corner store with cow's milk we know is carcinogenic, with the cow's pus and all the hormones that they put in there. And then you have the meats. Most of the meats that they put in certain communities are old and diseased meat. They have the artificial coloring to make it look like fresh meat, like the blood it's artificial, but it's already old meat. So if a person is eating this on a daily, you can almost predict the time, the date, and the year when that person will expire. And then with the coronavirus or COVID, when they say you get corona and then you've been diagnosed with COVID, you can almost predict that person will not survive, because a person's body has to have enough oxygen to fight whatever this virus is whatever is going on. So they can almost predict that these type of people, they don't have knowledge of how to keep their health and eat healthy and take care of themselves. So they can draw these predictions, and they can release certain I wouldn't even say release, because as I dig deeper, it's more than just releasing a virus. It's not. It's more so what they're putting up and what they're establishing in our neighborhoods that is causing this demise. And then you can predict, okay, this person will perish 5:23 p.m. April 19, 2021. They have it down to a science. That.
That's supposed to be a G.
G.
I'm trying not to say it. You know, G.
E.
You say,
oh, yeah.
Put up.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
You know, can we just call them killer waves? You want to talk about the killer waves?
Yeah, killer waves. Yeah, killer waves.
Okay, so you want to kind of expand on that too, because I think that's what you were alluding to about stuff that they're putting up. I don't get girl.
Yeah, I didn't say the name, and I won't. Yeah, that'll be again in my upcoming presentation. Yes, on that link between the killer waves and the health and the deaths of what they call COVID-19. So I'll be going really deep into that. But that, all of that, coupled with the health, the food, which is not even food, it's foodless food. It's Franken food. It's not even real food. You read it, it has 1,000 different, hundreds different ingredients. So this is not food.
With a salmon and a tomato and crazy.
Right, like you can identify, okay, this is an apple and this is a pear. But when you open that bag of Cheetos, you got tetrasodium, magnesium stearate, and all of these different things in there.
Well, don't even get me started on the Cheetos. When I was teaching, I would watch those kids eat the hot Cheetos. I just would look at them, even before I knew this, the stuff that I knew now instinctually, I'd just be like, this doesn't even look like real food. It looks like styrofoam. It's like styrofoam covered in like, you know, I don't know, just radioactive dust. That's what it looks like.
Exactly. So you have to create that condition in order for killer waves to work.
Yeah. So that, and then it goes back to the terrain theory.
Yes. Going back to that. Yes. Yes. I love bringing that up. And then you would think that once you put that out there, a person will be like, oh, like a light will come on. Yeah. You know, because I constantly repost that on my social medias. Comparing, contrasting the terrain theory versus the germ theory, and even bringing out that the guy who created the germ theory actually recanted.
Oh, Pasteur.
Louis Pasteur.
Mm-hmm.
He recanted on his deathbed, and he said, I was wrong. You know, it's not the germ that caused disease, it's the host that allows the germ to thrive, which the disease arrives. So when I seen that, I was like, wow. And when I started, you know, posting about it. I do videos, and you would think a aha moment will come, especially before all of this broke out. And again, the programming is there. It's set. You know, even though you say he already recanted, and the medical establishment it's still based on the germ theory till this day. Even
that's our problem. Our model is wrong. That's
recanted. You know what I'm saying? That means we should go off of what he said. This is the person, this is the maker of it. So if he recanted and he said he was wrong, why are we still following this this wrong theory?
Because there's more money in keeping people sick than empowering them, you know.
Of course.
And it's not about health. It's about keeping people enslaved and sick and dependent. That's what it's about. But, you know, that's our huge problem. That's why, you know, we get so much resistance, you know, when we talk about it, or, you know, I've gotten trolls or people, too, you know, we've been brainwashed to think that, you know, the medical people are gods and they can't do anything wrong. And, you know, I even had a guy that I got into it and he got mad at me and private messaged me. I thought I was done with him because we got in a fight like a few months ago. And then since this coronavirus happened, he came back and he was asking me if I changed my mind on vaccines. I was like, no, there's still bullshit. No. and then, you know, and then he was trying to be like, well, I have a degree and I spent $200,000. I was like, but you know what? You were gypped. I'm sorry. You need to ask for a refund because, you know, but there are people that have that mentality too. They think they go to school. They think they spend a lot of money on their education, and that makes them, that's the thing that makes them more knowledgeable and better than everybody else. Right. And there are people that will capitulate to that. They would genuflect to that. And they would say, oh, yes, sir. You know, like, oh, you went to school for a long time. You spent so much money. You must be a better person than me. So there are people that can't break that, like that train of thinking. So you have the people that think that because people also give them that power. And then you have the people that have the low self-esteem because they don't think they can be as smart to question somebody like that because they didn't go to school or they don't have the degrees like this. But this should be common knowledge for every layperson. I mean, it is, if you want to go and look at it, you know, it is common knowledge and it is out there and it is easily accessible information, but you just have to have the time, the energy, the, you know, to be able to seek it out, the passion.
That seeker in you.
Yeah, because it takes a lot of work. I mean, you know, when I heard this stuff, I was like, oh, when I first heard about like Béchamp, because Béchamp was the guy that was promoting terrain theory, and Pasteur was the guy that was promoting germ theory. But these are the European French people. They were French, right? That we base our models off of today. But lo and behold, indigenous people all over the world, they already knew about the shit. They didn't attach to it. Like they knew from their medicine, from their, like, so I'm just saying from the European standpoint, like this is the people that, you know, that have brought it to the West or have, you know, like had the framework, right? But we
fear germs now. We fear everything. I mean, I'm like, oh, don't touch that. You know, we're wearing gloves and we're doing taking all of these extra precautions. Lysol is
you're rubbing chemicals into your skin.
Exactly.
So you're gonna get cancer later because your liver has to process all that stuff.
You know, and fear of a germ. You know, fear of getting sick, or what we call getting sick. And I explained even in another interview that I did was that, you know, you can't catch anything from anyone. Rather, if let's say you and I are in the same vicinity, we're right next to each other, and you cough and you're already sick, and 2 days later I start coughing, I blame you and I say, oh, you got me sick. It's not that you got me sick. My defense system was already weak. My immune system was already weak, and whatever you had going on, that germ was, I was the perfect host for that germ to thrive in. So they found a nice, comfortable home. They're like, oh, I could thrive here. It's like, hey. It's full of junk. Germs are junk. They go where dirt garbage is.
They're so like, party over here.
Yeah, I'm over here, party over here. You remember that commercial with the Mucinex? That's exactly what it is. It's like I was the perfect place, terrain for that germ to thrive in. So that is the whole thing. And I say, you can't catch the healthy. I'm healthy. We're sitting next to each other. You can't catch the healthy. So, I mean, it's just more so now people are like, oh, wow, I didn't think of it like that. Like, yeah, they took away your common sense. You know, they took away your ability to perceive beyond what they have taught you. You know, and it goes really deep into even the programming with the television and all of these electronics, where it's destroying parts of the brain, especially in children, in the parietal section of the brain, which is the section to perceive, to have a thought, sense of perception of their reality. And once they distort that, they won't know what's right or what's wrong. So now you have the next generation coming up, and I won't even name a name, but I had a 7-year-old, we're telling her, yeah, vaccines are not good. Vaccines are good. My teacher said vaccines are good. This young child he was so aggressive. And he as a child, they don't even realize that that's not you talking.
Yes.
That is the program talking.
Yes. It's like,
you see what I'm saying?
I had a student, and I didn't bring my views into school really, because, I just, whatever the parents want to know, if I knew the parents are open, then I, approach them and be like, hey, but I had this 10-year-old, basically we were one day, and he was like, teacher, did you get your flu shot? And I was like, no. He's like, why not? And I was like, I don't do flu shots. He was like, you have to. He was flipping out. He was just like that little 7-year-old. He was flipping out. And I thought the same thing. I'm just like, it's like somebody speaking through him. Yes. He got so crazy. It was like rocking the desk and stuff. You need to take it. Like, I had to put him in a timeout. It was insane. It was insane. It was freaky. And I was just like, I didn't tell him why. I didn't go into details. All I said, I was just like, I don't take flu shots. I don't do flu shots. That's all I said. And he lost his flipping mind. Mm-hmm. He lost his flipping. Well, that's what I was asking you when you were 14. Were the kids, and you're like, kids don't act like that. But
it wasn't like that. See, when I was younger, we were not like that. The only time I was met with real opposition, there were certain things, not everything, we were not like that. When it came to vaccines, no one knew nothing about it, so we didn't really talk about it. But see, nowadays, vaccines are taught more now than when I was in school. It was never really
because there's resistance to question.
Right.
They have to like
taught way more. They're taught, even they have worksheets and
yes, I've seen it.
Class, they're saying that vaccines it gives you immunity. In these science books. So it was not like that in school.
Yes, I know.
It was not like that for us. We didn't learn about stuff like that. But nowadays, with the generation now, they're actually learning about that vaccines are good, that antibiotics, and you get sick, you take this, and all. They're actually learning about that. So it does create a resistance to what we know versus what they know. And if you think this way, like how we are, we're free thinkers, and we decide to put our children in school, it'll be a battle with our own children. And this is why I'm deciding not to put my daughter in school, because I would have to undo everything they're doing. It'll be more work for me, because she'll go to school and they say, well, my teacher said, and at that age, you look at the teacher as they're giving you knowledge. They're teaching you.
And there's peer pressure too.
Right.
Even my friend who homeschooled her son, I think from about 10, and he's almost 17 now, and now he's doing community college classes now. He's having resistance to that because of what he's being, and just within a few months. And we were talking about, it's like the peer pressure. It's not even necessary. Maybe the teacher, but unintentional that, it's like, you don't want to be, now, they're scared. People are scared to call themselves anti-vaxxers, even as adults. Like, I've heard some people say that that they know vaccines are bad, but then they'll be like, well, but I'm not an anti-vaxxer. They don't want to be called that name.
They don't want to, right.
A lot of people are cowardly, and they don't want like that label on them. They still, like, a lot of even adults have that really, like, arrested development mentality where they just don't want to be called names, or they don't want to like stick out. And that's another way of keeping people in the program. But the way things are going now, I think there's going to be decisions that are have to be made. Like it's getting to the point where you can't like be in the middle, you know?
Yeah, no, it's either one or the other. There is no in between.
Yeah.
There is no in between. So if you're on one side, you're all the way in. Like they say, there's no half stepping. You know, you have to, your faith, your belief, your trust has to be in one area. And holistic is just trusting in yourself. It's knowing who you are. You know, the more you seek holistic medicine, the more you learn who you are. And then when you go to allopathic, you know, you're solely relying on the doctor because he's not teaching you who you are. He's not showing you how to take care of yourself. You know,
it should be a partnership, I feel. Whereas a patient is just giving all their power to the doctor, and it should be like a marriage, like a partnership where you give them information and you know certain things about your body and how your stuff works, and then he takes or she takes their expertise, and you guys kind of like, you know, double team and work things out. You know, the doctors that I have now, that's the relationship that we have. Like I don't deal with doctors that, you know, want me to kiss their ass and just worship them. And I make sure I try to find out certain things, you know, about myself now before I approach certain people. And it's working out great for me, you know?
Right, exactly. You see the root word of doctor means dasir, which means to teach. And you're supposed to teach the person how to eat to live and teach them how to take care of themselves so that they don't keep coming back. You know, I tell people the first day, I don't want your money. I don't want to keep wanting your money. I'm here to teach you how to heal yourself. I'm not doing anything. I'm just simply the messenger and giving you the tools that you need to rediscover who you are. You're doing all the work. I'm here to help you because that's exactly what you need. And once you get on your feet, you'll find that these things are simple to do. It's just creating a habit. You know, every single day you're drinking your teas and you know, you're drinking your shakes and you're doing, eating your greens, fruits, vegetables. It becomes a habit. Just like how we eat now, you can adopt a new habit. So, you know, and then how I conduct my consultations is we go on a recorded Skype call. Especially now, there's no in-person. So I do virtual consultations through Skype. And we do a recorded Skype call for about an hour. And you can go back and listen to me. And so you can remember what was said. You know, okay, so this is what's going on in the thyroid. We go deep into where it started off. Or this is what's going on in the kidneys. We go deep into how it began. Because the eye works like a clock. And as you look at the eye, and I have a chart here, if you can see it.
Yeah, that's a great picture.
Yes, it goes around like a clock. So whatever goes on first is when the disruption began. So if you see here, this is the left eye. It goes from 12 all around to 11 o'clock. And then at 2 o'clock, you see the lungs. And once I start to go all in around the eye and what began first, then I'll even know what began first, even when you were a child, or an underlying condition in your family genetics. So this is really it ties in to spiritual healing as well, because not only are you looking at the person's physical ailments, but you can actually see what's going on with them spiritually. Okay, you're looking into the soul of a person, and that's what they call the eyes are the windows to the soul. And you can see all that's going on in a clock in an order and be able to tell how it began. And then when you tell how it began, you'll be able to tell what that person will need. Then I'll know exactly what herb you'll need. There's no guessing. Because sometimes when we try to heal ourselves and we're fresh in it, we become Google researchers. We're like, okay, I got this going on. And then they may not know that their herb may harm them more than hurt them. So sometimes you want to seek someone who's more skilled in that area. And I'll know, and there's no guesswork. I'll know exactly what herb you need. I know exactly what plan, what program to put you on. Some needs more than others. So that's what I've developed in the last 2 years to make sure that the person becomes whole again. There's no dependency on a medical doctor or even myself. If you need me, I'm here. But after they complete the program, they feel like a totally different person. And even I'm speaking to my client a few days ago. I found out that she just not on any medication anymore. She was taking blood pressure medication for the last 5-7 years.
Oh, wow.
And as I said earlier in the show, I made it my duty to get certain herbs that affect mainly the indigenous people, like blood pressure, cholesterol, all of these herbs. So I have a blood pressure tea that I created, and she's been taking it, and she followed the program that I laid out for her, and she's not taking her medications anymore, and that is amazing.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? That's amazing, because these medications are destroying our community. The longer you're on them, the more kidney issues we're having, the more liver issues we're having, the more your body's not able to react to certain illnesses. Your immune system becomes suppressed. So once you get off of it, you'll find all the mucus starts to come out because the medication was just suppressing the issue. So when she told me that, and she was, I said, you should be jumping, you know, and she was very, very, very happy. You know, sometimes it doesn't set in at first because it's unbelievable to know that you were dependent. And I never tell my clients to stop taking their medication, because as a holistic practitioner, legally, I'm not able to do that. I simply say, listen, you can only take it once a day because you're on a medication. It may drop the pressure too low. But if you decide to trust the herb, put your full trust in yourself and the herb, then that's on you. And that's what she decided to do. And it works. And it works.
And it's so frustrating that you have all these legal limitations when you guys are actually the real healers.
Yes.
Because I have friends now. I have a few friends that are allopathic doctors, but I have a lot of friends now that are like you know, they're naturopaths, they're doulas, they're massage therapists, they're, you know, they're herbologists, practitioners, like all kinds of other alternative forms of healing. Even yogis, even yoga. Like I've seen people heal through yoga and massage therapy and stuff, but they have all these limitations. But I'm like, but you guys are really healing people. It just makes me so mad, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we're almost out of time. Is there anything that you would like to say? Promote, girl, go. Do what you need to do. And
yes, I would like to direct the family to my social media outlets. I'm on Instagram at Holistic Hope. That's WHOLISTIC Hope. My website for anyone who's interested in a consultation, herbs. I have different herbal remedies, things of that nature. You can go on my website, holisticapalace.com, HOLISTICA palace.com. And for my upcoming presentation that I'll be really going deep into the attack on the blood and how to prepare for this second wave that they're predicting. That'll be on my YouTube channel at Holistica Healer, HOLISTICA Healer.
Well, I'm going to put the links in the bottom too.
Oh, yeah. So
and what time is that going to be? Is it going to be live?
It's going to be, I don't think it's going to be live. I'm going to pre-record it on my Zoom, and then I'll just release it on my YouTube channel.
So it's going to be on Friday?
Yeah, I'm looking towards Friday. Yes.
Do you know what time? Friday?
I'm not sure, but it wouldn't be any later than 7 p.m.
Okay. Well, just send me all the info, and I'll put this up tomorrow so then people can be ready for it on Friday. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Shakirah. So much. Wait, don't hang up because I'm going to talk to you after. But Shakirah Moore from Finding Your Beauty, holistic practitioner, guys. All right. Thank you so much. Peace and love. Bye-bye. Mwah.
Peace and love. Thank you.
All right. Hold on a second.